Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany
and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows
like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, and more. Hi everyone, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia.
And today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 3, titled Near Wild Heaven. Air date October 5th, 2004, and the synopsis is...
Although Nathan and Haley are already married, Tim insists on throwing Nathan a bachelor party, while Brooke throws Haley a bachelorette party. Meanwhile, Lucas tries to decide whether he should visit Dan in the hospital. Karen decides to go back to school, and Nathan gets a job working for Keith at Dan's dealership. So we start off with Payne and Haley putting up the wedding picture board on the wall of Haley and Nathan's apartment, and Brooke is supervising. And then Tim is looking at the phone book and asks, what does Nathan want? Thai and Mexican, then says Chinese is always good. Haley tells Tim that he just ate. How can he still be hungry? And he says he's not ordering food. He's ordering strippers.
I love how he didn't tell anybody. He's just doing it.
Right.
You know, it's like, he doesn't even ask if Nathan wants this. He's just, I'm getting a stripper. And it's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the blue, like normally you would ask somebody.
Yeah.
Not Tim. He just does what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't like that scene because it was very racist, especially with myself being Mexican. And they could have just had Haley, like, see him looking in the phone book, and Haley could have just asked, like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, who's he trying to call? And he could reply to strippers that way. That would have been a lot better. And then he explains to Haley that they got married so fast he didn't get to be the best man. But he's not missing out on the bachelor party. And then this is when Nathan walks out.
Well, I mean, it is true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did. Nobody was a part of it. This is the thing. Like, they're doing, like, everything in reverse. I mean, you would want your friends there and your family there, and, you know, you would have all these things leading up to your wedding. You don't just get married at night and then, oh, now we're going to have everything.
Right.
No. But I guess that's the Naley way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is Nate... Okay, so Peyton and Brooke are there.
Mm-hmm.
Tim's there.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Nathan coming out in just a towel?
Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm like, okay, I guess, you know, like Tim's his best friend, whatever. But I'm like, but Brooke and Peyton, like, now, I get one's your ex. But why would you... I mean, you have company there. You can hear that they're out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he knew that they were there before he took a shower.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it seems like they've all been there a while. So I'm just like, why is he coming out in a towel? It you know, you can take another 2 minutes and put clothes on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Why are you coming out in a towel?
They just set that up so Brooke could take
I know, but I'm just saying
just
that
the writers wanting to be so risque all the time for no reason.
Because I'm just like, realistically, you would throw on some shorts or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you can be shirtless because he's a guy, but you would at least just put some shorts on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you love how Brooke is just acting like she's never seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then Peyton made that inappropriate comment, saying that it's
so much fun when you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, and then her and Brooke high five, and that's when Payne looks at Haley and is like, oops, I probably shouldn't have said that. With now his wife still right in front of me.
I mean, it is weird to say your wife when you're in high school.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if it was just his girlfriend,
right? You
still shouldn't be saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you guys are now friends.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you saying it? Just like it's our, like, we already know that they've slept together, Sen, Peyton, and Nathan. Mm-hmm. So you're just rubbing it in her face even more. Right. And because, was it like a couple weeks ago, she found pictures of Peyton on his computer. It's like, I'm sure it's still in her mind. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're just opening up the same wound that they just tried to bandage.
Right.
But I do like them all together. Mm-hmm. Even though Lucas isn't there.
Yeah. And then Brooke and Payne make comments about Haley's undergarments, I guess. And
Why?
Yeah, because I guess they're right there in the kitchen also. And Brooke says that this is a bridal shower code red. And then Lucas...
But everyone has different tastes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really annoying. Mm-hmm. Like, she likes what she likes, and Brooke clearly likes what she likes. Right. You know, it's like, I definitely wouldn't be wearing what Brooke wears. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, it's just annoying. Yeah. And again, like, to kind of, like, show girls what Haley wears is, you know, you shouldn't wear that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what you should wear what Brooke wears. It's like, no. Because, again, everyone has their own taste. Right. And then Lucas goes to visit Dan in the hospital, just like we saw at the end of the last episode. That's what was weird, was that we had that ending of Dan saying, "Thank you for coming, son." And then we didn't even open with it. Right. I was like, normally we open with the cliffhanger, but not this time. And then it was weird because we actually saw him this time walk in. Like, we saw it from Lucas's perspective now, not Dan's. And I thought that was a little interesting. I love how Dan is just so, like, mellow and, you know, not really reacting. I'm just like, okay, Dan. Like, you definitely have something up your sleeve. Right. Yeah, so Dan tells Lucas he wants to do something he should have done a long time ago, to apologize to him and his mother. And now I was surprised that he brought up Karen. Because, I mean, he's had plenty of chances to apologize. Right. Then back at home, Lucas tells Karen he wants to go see Dan. He's not going to hide from him. I didn't know he was even hiding from him in the first place. And he wasn't exactly, like, going to his house and everything, but it didn't seem like he was avoiding him either. No, I mean, if he was around, he tried to go get away from him. But, yeah, I didn't see it as he was hiding from him because everybody tries to get away from Dan. Yeah. Except for Deb right now, because she's working with him to get Nathan back. Well, I think it's more guilt. Yeah, that too. Like, she wants his help, of course, because who's the best person that can sabotage somebody's life? But I do think that she's only hanging around because she's guilty. Right. Yeah, that's what... Which is really annoying. Yeah, that's what Joy said, too. If you want something done, go to Dan. Yep. That's what... Think about it. On this show, everybody does it. Even, like, minor characters. Yeah. It's like, if you want something done, you just go to Dan Scott. He's got the plan. Yeah. See, that's the thing is, you know, you need him on the show. Right. Because it's like, as much as he can ruin someone's life, and as much as he's, like, the devil and the villain, you know, everyone still goes to him. You know, and they have problems. Yeah. Yeah, so Lucas tells Karen that he said he was sorry, and the scary part is that it seems like he meant it. That's what I mean. He's just so mellow, and it's like, and you want to believe it, but but you know, the whole thing is, you gotta relook at it and go, wait a minute, it's Dan Scott. You know, this man doesn't change. But for some reason, everyone's believing this. Right. And then Karen asks Lucas if if he wants her to go with him or go talk to him for him. And Lucas says no, he's okay. And then he says again he's not going to run from him. I mean, I do think that Lucas needs to, if he wants to, talk to Dan. But I do think he needs to do it one-on-one. I don't think Nathan, Deb, or especially Karen, should be there. Right. I mean, this is between Dan and Lucas, whatever happens from here on out. So it's both of their choices, and they need to do it together and not with Karen. Right. Because, I mean, Karen, especially because in season 1, we saw her kind of make Lucas feel guilty in a sense, like, oh, don't, you know, if you're over there, like, hanging out with Nathan or basketball or whatever, like, you're kind of like dissing my feelings from when I had you. And it's like, that's your trauma. But don't make that Lucas's. And so I'm glad that Lucas is like, you know what? I'm going to talk to Dan on my own. Because we all know Karen would just bring in her own issues. Right. And Lucas also says sometimes you just got to let it go. But what does he want to let go? But also if Dan was a normal person, that would be understandable.
Mm-hmm. And then back at the apartment, Nathan tells Tim he could have told him about the strippers instead of ambushing Haley with it.
Ambushing his wife.
Yeah. Tim says he knew about it. Nathan says he knew that they were talking about it. He didn't know he was actually going to do it.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, like, Nathan knows Tim.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that if you get something in Tim's head, he's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm surprised that he actually would think that Tim wouldn't go through with this.
Right.
Especially with strippers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like one of Tim's favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a little weird too.
Yeah. Yeah, so Tim asks if Nathan got married or castrated.
But how did you like, though, when Tim was like, because, you know, Nathan's like, well, I'm married and stuff. And Tim's like, well, we all know your past. I'm just like, oh my God.
Right. But that's exactly where it is, the past. But I guess...
Yeah, but that was only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, Nathan has changed, and you want to believe that he can, you know, be that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would be more... You would understand it more if we had just ended the boy draft not long ago. Because he didn't sleep with Peyton, even though he said he still had feelings for her. But with with the pictures of Peyton, it's kind of hard to tell if he would be faithful or not.
Right. Well, and the porn.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I mean is they never actually fixed things. They just covered it up by some words.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's why I do wish that that wasn't an issue in their relationship. Because then I would have been more okay with them getting married. Because marriage is a big deal. And especially because these two were just too new to be in a relationship. Like Nathan had never been in a serious relationship, and either is Haley. So the fact that their first thought is let's get married, I mean, that's normally that'd be kind of like a red flag. But I mean, I do love Nathan and Haley, so it's, you know, hard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, they just met. But I mean, and Nathan too, I mean, he's had a lot of issues in the past and things to overcome, but you know, he's definitely a different person.
Right.
But this is why he just needs to get rid of Tim. You know, because then think about it, he wasn't thinking of doing anything, but it's like Tim just gets under his skin, kind of like Dan gets under everyone. Right. So it's kind of like, if you just get rid of Tim like you did to Dan, you would probably be in a better space.
Yeah, because Bevan, who played Evan, she said that her and her husband had been going out for 3 months until they got engaged, but they didn't get married until a couple of years later, and then they were already in their 30s, so that's not a big deal for them, you know, like it is for Nathan and Haley.
Well, I mean, when you're only 16 or 17,
exactly.
It's different. Especially when, okay, and here's the thing. When you need your parents' legal permission, it's not like when you're 18 and you can go to the courthouse and get married because your parents disapprove. I mean, you're legal age. You can do what you want. But when you legally need your parents' permission to sign off on your marriage, it's like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And especially for the 2000s, you know, people just didn't do that.
Right.
But I love how, like, Nathan and Haley, both of them, are just, like, brushing this off as if this is normal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody is just still so in shock and, you know, they're trying to take it seriously, but at the same time they're throwing digs because it's just not traditional and normal. So, you know, by saying like, well, we would have known, you know what I mean? Like it's brought up. And so it's like, yeah, it's just so weird. Like Nathan Haley, well, we're married. It's like, what are you, 20?
Right.
To say that?
Yeah, so Keith is doing work at the dealership when he sees a cutout of Dan from The Office.
Oh my God. Did you like when he did like the thumbs up or whatever that Dan does on the cutout?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and he's like getting all mad about it.
Mocking him.
I was like, I love Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is why I love it. Like, Dan is getting under his skin, but how he's reacting is just so funny.
Yeah. Just then Lucas walks in and tells Keith.
Now, isn't it weird that Lucas is going to the dealership? Like, I know it's because, like, Keith's there and all, but it's just kind of weird. Because, like, Lucas would never step foot into the dealership, you know, in the past.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. Like, either with Keith. So, it's just really weird. Like, all of a sudden, these two are in Dan's world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keith says Dan did everything for himself, himself, which is on brand, but never let anyone help him with the big stuff. So Keith has to do the same.
But, okay, which is very strange to me because Keith owned his own body shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't seem like he had any employees besides Lucas. Yeah. So, which would mean that Keith would do everything himself. Mm-hmm. Like all the paperwork and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why wouldn't Dan? I mean, especially when you're, like, if you own your own business and stuff, I mean, like, if I did, I would definitely want to do things myself because you'd have to trust somebody. And that's usually when you get screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, and I think Dan knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, he would do everything himself.
Right.
But I'm surprised that Keith would say that, given how it seemed like Keith had done everything himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you didn't do everything yourself, I could see you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it seemed like you did, I don't know. It was just kind of off to me. I'm like, what? Maybe that's just the Scott way. You just do everything yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Lucas asks if there's anything he can do to help, and Keith says, yeah, I can come back and work for him like old times.
I thought Dan just sells cars.
Yeah, he should.
So, because Keith and Lucas fixed cars.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm confused at what Lucas would be doing.
Probably the same thing.
What?
Selling cars.
He never sold cars. He fixed them.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm just confused.
Keith doesn't either, so.
Because when Keith's like, oh, come back and work, it's like, but you're not fixing cars. And right. Lucas is not a salesman. Unless he's cleaning the cars. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To be sold or something. I'm just like, what teenager? And the other thing, he's a teenager. Are you really going to go to an inexperienced teenager?
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No. I want somebody that has been there for a few years mm-hmm. and knows what they're talking about and can get me some deals, not someone that's new. So I'm just kind of confused at what he would be doing. Because remember, the only reason why I'm thinking he doesn't do fix-up cars is because remember in season 1 when Dan took that jab at Keith by saying, like, I sell them and then I bring them to you to fix or something like that. Mm-hmm. He had that jab. So it makes me, because think about it, if he had his own little body shop or, you know, like other dealerships do, you wouldn't be sending them to Keith. You would send them to yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's what made me think he only sells them and not fixes them.
Right. Well, that's usually what dealerships do, right?
No.
I mean, they might have a little garage, but for the most part, yeah. So.
No, because especially if your car breaks down, you're going to go to the dealership and have it fixed.
Well, I don't go to dealerships, so.
Well, we do. Mm. I mean, obviously, because, I mean, you trust them. I mean, you can get your oil changed. You can get it fixed. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm just kind of confused, because I'm like, just seems like he only sells them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lucas says he doesn't know because it might be strange getting a check with Dan's name on it. He says it feels good.
Yeah, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much... Now, I mean, what do you think Keith is getting paid? Like, do you think he's getting paid like a manager's salary?
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, and you really think Dan would agree to that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it's Dan. He wants to give Keith, especially, the bare minimum.
Right. And then Keith says he has to get some papers with Dan's signature on it.
But he's avoiding going to the hospital.
Yeah.
And isn't it weird? Lucas, I'll take it. It's like, oh, of course you will.
Right.
All of a sudden, you're Dan's best friend. Which is so weird. That used to be Nathan's job.
Yeah. And Keith has said that he doesn't know what drugs are pumping into him, but he's kind of polite right now.
Which should mean to everyone that that's not a good thing.
Right.
If he's nice to you.
Yeah. And then he says he didn't think they'd ever be able to put their differences aside like Lucas and Nathan did, but who knows? Maybe they'll keep him medicated.
But Nathan's a different person because Nathan, even though he was a jerk, he's still... I mean, I always said it, he was Dan's puppet, but at the same time, like, a part of him knew right from wrong. Because he would go up against his own dad, remember? So it's like he knew he just needed to be away from that to, be a different person.
Right.
And so that's why I'm like, no, Dan is just Dan. You're never going to have that brotherly bond like these two because Dan is just a different person. Also, you slept with his wife.
Right.
I mean, Nathan and Lucas aren't sleeping with their wives. It's just, Lucas may have wanted to sleep with Nathan's girlfriend. Yeah. That's all.
Right, and that reminded me, was there a scene before this at all between the finale and now where Deb and Keith had talked about their one-night stand?
I don't think so.
Because it was in the recap from the last episode. For this episode, it showed a little clip of Deb and Keith talking, and she said that they were just two lonely people, and that was all. Like,
oh, maybe at the cafe.
It looked like she was at somebody's house.
Wow.
Maybe hers hers probably, because we don't know where he's living at the moment. But
oh, I don't know. Maybe he went to go visit her.
Because I went to go back and I didn't see the scene in the episode, so I don't know where they got it from. Because it was in the second episode, 202, so I don't know if it was beforehand, but I didn't remember it. So yeah, so that plotline has been dropped as of right now.
Yeah, but he still slept with her.
But I mean, there's no mention of it afterwards, besides for that one that I couldn't find.
I was going to say, it's going to be mentioned in the future.
And then back at the apartment.
By the way, I love the apartment scenes. They're always like one of my favorite sets.
Yeah. And Haley is angrily cleaning.
Even cleaning the bananas.
Yeah, Nathan asks if she needs some help, and she says no. She's just straightening things up for his party.
For his little party.
Yeah. Nathan says she doesn't need to. It's just the guys. They've seen a place like this before. In fact, they even made it like this. Haley says she doesn't mind. Besides, if you're going to have a stinky hole in the place, at least it should look nice. And then says she's kidding, sort of, maybe. They really love to use those words for any little occasion. Like skank, whore, slut all the time. It just really gets old. And because really the stripper, that's just her job, so I don't know why they just keep... I mean, it was the 2000s, early 2000s, but...
I think that was the language back then.
Yeah, and it's just... It's more accepted today. It's like not like more of a demeaning job as much anymore, so... And then, but it just feels like this is part 2 of the porn argument, But once again, Haley keeps getting like shut down about her feelings about it, you know what I mean?
But she's also not expressing that she's upset about it. Like, I know that she is, and she's cleaning like that, but she's not talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like maybe she doesn't feel like she has the right to anymore for some reason.
Because she's married?
Yeah.
Because that's all we hear. We're married.
Yeah.
I mean, I did too. I was like, why are we going back to this? We know that there's a problem.
Yeah.
So there should be no strippers because there's an issue in their marriage, which is why you should have gotten married. Again, they didn't fix it. You can clearly tell here they didn't fix a thing.
Right.
Like when you get married, you need to trust that person isn't going to cheat on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what it's supposed to be, where you're so solid and secure in your relationship that you can get married.
Mm-hmm.
But Haley is not. This is why you don't get married at 16, because she's so insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's worried something might happen.
Right.
And it's like, you shouldn't, if you're getting married, or if you are married, because clearly they are not getting, that should not be a worry.
Right.
It should be like, have fun with the stripper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, or what's he going to think of me after? Because I know that was the whole thing in the porn one, remember? So, again, you probably should have talked to them about all. The problem is they just rushed and got married. Mm-hmm. They didn't think of anything.
Yeah.
Which normally in relationships you do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're going to, you know, put a ring on it.
Yeah.
And legally change your life.
Yeah, it just seems like getting married was like putting a Band-Aid over it with the biggest bandage of them all.
Yeah, because they got married right after the porn and Peyton fight.
Yeah.
Remember? That was the night. Mm-hmm. It was like, huh? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you just had a big fight about this. One of the biggest insecurities. And then you got married. Mm-hmm. Nobody does that after that kind of argument. You know? It's like, in a sense, he did cheat. Because he had just saw Peyton. You know what I mean? And lied and said it was months ago. So, technically, didn't he cheat?
Yeah.
As much as I love Nathan, didn't he kind of cheat?
Yeah.
And then you got married?
Mm-hmm.
What? Right. I'm at like a loss for words because you just don't do that.
Right. That's why I said they should have waited until the second season, like the end of second season, to get married. But
because then it would have been the end of the school year, and you would have at least been together for half a school year.
Mm-hmm. And then they would have had like the whole summer to like really get to learn each other as like a married couple.
Well, yeah, because then they could have spent all day together. Because think about right now, they're at school most of the time. Yeah. They're at school. They come. Well, he has basketball practice
and his job at the mall.
Does he? I don't ever see this boy at his job.
Well, his manager is in this episode with him, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, but
I invited him when they were at work.
I never see him there. I've only saw him there that one day. And Haley. That's the thing, is if these two are working, you wouldn't.
Wait, what's Haley doing?
She works at the cafe.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that.
So I'm just like, if these two actually have jobs, you wouldn't see each other.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
You know, because think about like normal people, like adults, we go to work every day.
Right.
And then we have time in the evening to spend time with our family. But if you're going to school and then you're going to work, you don't have time. Right. So I don't understand this. Why do they need to get married if they're not even spending time together? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was that rush?
Yeah. I think they just showed them at their jobs just to prove that they have a job. So
yeah, because otherwise the question would have been how are they paying for their lifestyle?
Yeah, because I know Sophia had said that when they filmed the scene with her crying after Lucas broke up with her, they were like filming during the day when there were customers there. So I think they didn't want to keep going back to have to film in public anymore. So they just like had Nathan work there that one day to prove that he was there, so they don't have to bother, that setup again. So
yeah, but it's just when you think about it, and you think there's not that much time in the day.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Right.
Why would you need to get married? It's not like you're spending time together. But they seem to act like they're spending all of the time. They're acting like they're spending 24/7.
Right.
And you can't.
Yeah, I would guess both of them are either working in the before school or after school. Most likely after.
Well, I think Nathan probably works out in the morning.
Yeah, and plus I don't think the mall's even open that early anyhow, so it would most likely be afterward.
And on the weekends.
Probably closer. I feel like he would go there after school until closing.
Right. And then on the weekends.
Yeah.
So I don't get where, and Haley too, she would work in the evenings at the cafe and on the weekends. So I don't understand how they have time for anything. How do they have time for school, their jobs, their friends, their extracurricular activities?
Yeah, like I've seen people talk about the same thing of Gilmore Girls, how they're able to go to like Luke's in the morning and walk around town before school, Rory's school. So it's just like TV thing. Like they have the time in the world to basically do everything before school.
Because it was like Nathan. He went walking with his dad in season 1. Remember, they like worked out. They were walking. Then he went to school, and it was like, what time is this school?
Right.
Because that's not us. I rolled out of bed. You know what I mean? It's like I enjoyed my sleep because we started at 7:45. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These people must start at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because how do you have all that time in the world? And wasn't it the same thing on Dawson's Creek? I said, why is it still daylight? Like, what time do these people go to school? Remember, we even talked about that. We're like, how do they have all this time to go to each other's houses before school?
Yeah.
And it's still daylight. Like, if you're going to each other's houses, like, if I went to your house in high school, it would be dark outside.
Yeah.
These people, they must start at a different time. And if you're starting at 10, you're getting out at like 5. So again, it doesn't add up to, and again, when are they doing homework?
I don't know.
And projects and everything we did.
Yeah, it's like the writers just they didn't want to like show them as teenagers for very long. They wanted them to be more like adults, or maybe can't even say college, because they would still have a lot of homework.
Yeah, but you could go half time at you could go to school like full days to like 2-3 days and then have the rest of the days off.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it, because I'm like, realistically, because think about like people that play sports. They go to school, they go to practice, they come home, eat, do their homework, and then it's time for bed. There's no time for anything else.
Right.
I'm like, when would there be time? Yeah,
just like when they got married and it was still daylight outside after the game and everything.
Yeah, and the game probably got over at 10, 11. And how did they have time to actually get ready, do her hair? Because if she went to the game, it's not like she skipped it.
Probably, she went with what she was wearing from the game.
But she didn't.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Because she looked awfully pretty in her, in the flashback.
Yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but that could have easily been her mom's dress, so that could have saved some time too. But
yeah, but you still have to get your hair done.
Yeah.
And that's going to take, at least an hour, if not more.
Yeah.
So, and makeup and all that. Like, it just realistically, it didn't make any sense. It was all pretty. I'm not going to take that away from them. But just, realistically, that just didn't make any sense. That's why, realistically, this whole plot didn't really make any sense. It's all adorable, but it just doesn't make any sense.
And then Nathan says his bachelor party is more for Tim than it is for him.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to Nathan, he wouldn't have it. Because remember, he's married. He has a wife. How many times am I going to have to hear that? For Cynthia, I can already tell you. Till the end of the show.
And then, Tim's thrown by the fact that Lucas did the reception. So this is his way of proving that he's still his best friend.
Okay, but, when he said, oh, I'd be the best man, I'm like, let's be honest.
It would be Lucas.
It would be Lucas. Because Lucas and Nathan have been really close lately. Tim has been out of the picture. Tim's like the party person.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if you want to throw a party, not a good one, but if you want to throw a party, I guess you invite Tim. Otherwise, realistically, if you're going through something, you don't call him. You call Lucas. And that would be his best man. Now, Lucas, on the other hand, I have an issue with that one.
What do you mean?
Because who would his best man be? Like, you're going to ditch your old friends? Right, that's what I had the issue with.
Yeah, but that was funny.
Well, Nathan don't have any friends, let's be honest.
But that was funny how Haley said, like, what's next? Lap dances for world peace. And Nathan says that he's not getting tweaked about her shower, and Haley says it's a brighter shower.
But see,
boring.
I mean, but there is a difference.
Right.
I mean, because, okay, Nathan's her first boyfriend. It's not like she had guys knocking at her door trying to sleep with her. Like Nathan. You know, it's like, remember on the bus, he was drunk and girls were all over him. It's like, that's Nathan's life. Or was. So it's like, it's different between Nathan and Haley.
Right.
She didn't have that. So, you know, I don't know. It's definitely not the same. You know? Like, they were in two different categories.
Mm-hmm. And then the next scene is Brooke telling Haley her shower is going to kill. Haley says normally that isn't good, and Brooke says it is this time. And then she takes a picture of Haley. They're at the cafe right now. And then,
which is weird.
Yeah, and then tells her not to worry about it when Haley asks what the picture is for. And just to leave the shower for her. And so, yeah, Brooke just loves taking pictures.
And doesn't tell anybody why.
Yeah. And she says that she's going to teach Haley James, Scott, whoever she is right now, to have serious fun. And tomorrow night she's tutor girl. Then Karen and Keith run into each other while they're out in town.
It was very funny that he has a cup of coffee and it's not from her. But then, you know, I was thinking, in a small town, wow, they have 2 coffee shops?
Right. Yeah, Karen says he looks fantastic in his suit. It's a whole new him. The next how things are going at the dealership. Keith says they're good, yeah. And yeah, so Karen knows it's about the coffee. And then he says he better get back, so we see her around. And then Lucas visits Dan at the hospital to get a signature for the papers Keith needs. And Dan's still, you know, his good mood self. And as he's signing, he mentions to Lucas about the rehab he's doing for his heart. He thought he might join him. Like,
well, then Lucas is funny because he's like, what, workout buddies? And it's like,
Right.
Well, then it was funny, though, because, I mean, that was Nathan's job.
Mm-hmm. But, if he's going to, like, rehab, like, in a clinic or, you know, a hospital or whatever, usually you don't have a family member to go with you to work out with you. It's just you and the physical therapist. So
I mean, the person could be there. They just have to sit and watch you.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why he would invite Lucas to, you know, to do that, because it's not like they can even, like, talk or anything. So.
But, I mean, even if you hire someone to come to your house, it's still going to be like a one-on-one session. It's not going to be it's not going to be there. They're going to tell you, all right, lift this leg, do this. Now both of you do this. Like, like they have trainers.
Right, yeah. So I don't know why they did that.
Because they do act like at the end, like he's going home and he'll probably, you know, more than likely it's Dan Scott. He'll have a physical therapist come to his house. He ain't going anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Especially because he's been in the hospital for so long. It's like, but again, it would be one-on-one. It wouldn't be an actual training session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no, they did that.
I mean, I guess he could walk around with Lucas. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's what he meant.
Yeah, I don't know, but he just...
I don't know, but Dan does think he's getting back into shape. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really hear that he can't do anything when he goes home.
And then, yeah, he says he can get to know Lucas, and Lucas says to Dan that he had that, you know,
his whole life. He could have
done that, yeah. And Dan says life's giving him a second chance. So,
yeah, but it doesn't mean everybody has to give you a second chance. I mean, do you like that Lucas is giving him a second chance and is actually participating in his obnoxiousness?
No.
Because I'm like, Lucas should know better. This man wanted to abort you. Mm-hmm. This man hates your guts.
Right.
And you're giving him a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just Lucas only feels, you know, like he should give him a second chance just because he had a heart attack. So
that means nothing.
Yeah, I know. But in
to
this
me,
world, it means everything apparently.
Yeah, in Tree Hill Land, because it doesn't in my land.
Yeah, just like when you saved Lucas in a car accident, so. Same thing there.
Well, even that, though, remember? Dan was like, I saved your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, thinking he should get all the credit. And it's like, so you did one nice thing. Congrats.
Yeah. And Lucas asks, does he think they should be having this conversation, if he wasn't on the outs with Nathan?
I don't agree. Or, I agree, he wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because that was Nathan's job.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he would want a relationship with Lucas if he had Nathan.
Yeah.
I do think that Lucas is just the replacement. I mean, I just wish Lucas would open his eyes and see that he's only the replacement, because if Nathan comes back tomorrow, you're kicked to the curb.
Right.
You know, like, Nathan is his prized possession.
Mm-hmm.
He wants nothing to do with you.
Right.
He only has some extra time on his hands.
Yeah, so Dan says he understands Lucas's hesitation, and he knows he hasn't given him a lot of reason to trust him in the past.
What did you think, though, when he said that he trusts Lucas? Because he wanted him to do a favor and go in his desk drawer.
Yeah, and the lockbox, he has those clippings of Lucas.
But it was just weird because he's like, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might not trust me, but I trust you. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's just suspicious.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Like how he said it. And I'm like, all right, Dan.
Right.
What's going on?
Mm-hmm. And then the next scene, Lucas is in Dan's office, going to the drawer he mentioned in the lockbox. He unlocks it to put the papers inside when he sees a school picture of himself along with the envelope.
Okay.
And everything we saw Dan looking at before.
Okay, so Dan, the newspaper article, everybody can get the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
That's public.
Yeah.
But it's a school picture, how did he get? Because you have to give those out.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he has a random picture of Lucas when he was little.
Yeah.
I'm like, how'd you get that one?
Mm-hmm.
Did he go to Keith's house and steal this stuff?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I can only imagine.
Because I can't imagine Keith would give him these things. Because it's never been brought up. It's never, because I feel like that would have been a mention in season 1 of Keith going at Dan saying, well, you didn't entirely want him dead because you have pictures of him. You know, you asked for pictures of him when he was little.
Right.
You know, that I feel like that would have been a thing.
Yeah.
And because it's not, I'm guessing Keith doesn't know about the pictures, which means he didn't give you the pictures.
Right.
So the only person, I don't know. I don't know how he got it. He must have literally broken Keith's house.
Mm-hmm. And then...
well, how do you think he got it?
I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking about stealing them from Keith, too.
I mean, it's a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Again, and it's not like he got any from Royal, his father, because he just found out that Royal and Karen have been in communication.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, again, we could say that, but no, it's not true.
Right.
I wish we would have found out where he got them. Because we never learn.
Right. And then at Lucas's house, he goes in for a hair drying target on mouth, who is covered in duct tape in his hair. I don't know.
Also, it's just, I don't know. Just all of a sudden, they're just goofing off.
Mm-hmm. And Haley walks in. She says it's just some weird guy thing she's never going to understand. Lucas is pretty much. And then Haley wants to talk to Lucas alone, so Skills is cool with that because he has to get eggs, apparently.
So, this whole thing, too, was kind of weird because she could have said it in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right. I mean, she's just used to talking to Lucas about anything.
I know, but to actually kick them out, like, they were there first, Haley.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, it's not anything, like, serious where, I mean, really? I mean, and they're kind of your friends, too, right? I didn't think they needed to be kicked out for the conversation.
Oh, I didn't think they minded. I wouldn't mind if she wanted to talk to Lucas.
I know, but Mouth was stuck there, and then it was like, come and get, it's like, why can't Mouth hear this?
Right.
I mean, it's Mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, him of all people would keep it a secret.
Yeah, it's like an insecurity she's having again that she wants to talk to Lucas about.
Well, then you shouldn't have gotten married if that's your insecurity.
Mm-hmm. And then,
So, is it weird that Lucas wasn't going to go to this bachelor party?
no, he doesn't really do parties.
No. But it's his brother and it's his sister. Like, it's his best friend's husband. Like, it's just weird. I'm like, they're close, but he's not going to go.
Right, yeah, maybe he was going to do something that would keep it.
Like, it's really just going to be Tim and Nathan.
Well, it seemed like I thought the other guys were going to go too, but I guess not, the report guys, because the way they made that up, it just looked like they were, like, playing a game for the party, but then it was just them messing around, so.
Right, because then Haley is, like, basically asking Lucas to go to watch him. And I'm like, so Lucas wasn't going to go?
Yeah, so maybe that's why she wanted to talk to him along, since it was about the party they weren't really invited to, so it would have been rude to talk about in front of them.
But Lucas must not have been invited.
Right.
Otherwise, I feel like he would have went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it is his brother and all.
Mm-hmm. And then,
Oh, but it was... So, when she said, though, that she wished that he had done that guy stuff before they got married, and Lucas was like, yeah, like, he would have if he would have gotten married 10 years from now.
yeah.
Like, this, I mean, it's like, in this episode, it's like nothing but digs, because it's like, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't expect him to just act like, I just don't get it. You can't say, like, oh, all that has changed and he should have done all that. You literally said, let's get married tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the stuff that you would have done, he didn't have time to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it is annoying that she brought that up, because I'm like, again, your insecurities means you should not have been married.
Yeah.
And maybe you should have waited at least a week, you know, so you could have all these parties, and then you could have got married.
Mm-hmm. And then just then, Skills comes back and says they got trash cans set up like bowling pins, so he figures they can just throw Mouth's little, he said squirrely little ass right into them. Just then there's a loud crash, sounding exactly the way Skills was just describing, with Mouth yelling strike. And then Haley claims to take the next turn. I thought that was out of character a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All of a sudden she wants to be one of them.
Yeah. And it just seemed like this is a game that somebody could get hurt with, so. And, then back at the hospital, the doctor says the medication will treat the symptoms, but the best treatment for him right now is a lifestyle change. So he's going to have to do physical therapy and can start as soon as he's released the day after tomorrow.
But it was for the rest of your life, you're going to have this change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how well that works for Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the doctor says he has a long road back for him. And then Deb tells Dan the hospital gave her the name of their best physical therapist.
What did you think, though, when he said, I want to come home, Deb?
Yeah, he's just trying to make amends with everyone.
No, he's not.
Well, he's acting like he is.
Like, think about it. He caught his brother and his wife.
Yeah.
He has no part of him that wants to make amends with either one of them. It's only to ruin their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his agenda. And so I'm like, right. And of course, she's going to give in because she feels guilty.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
Then the next scene, Tim tells Nathan to smell him because he's messing with perfume or cologne.
But it was funny
because
it
was perfume.
Nathan's like, that's not mine. And he goes, well, it was in your cupboard. And I was like,
yeah, it was in the bathroom.
Yeah, but he has a wife, remember? Like, there's going to be girl products in there.
Yeah.
I was like, really, Tim? It's Haley's stuff, too, you know.
Yeah, he just couldn't tell the difference, apparently.
No, but when he said, it was in your...
He said the bathroom. He didn't say cupboard.
Well, but either way. But either way, there's someone else living there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be like, well, it was in your bathroom. Yeah, someone else lives there too, idiot. Like, that's just so stupid to just think that everything in there is Nathan's. No.
Yeah, so just then Haley walks in next to him, what he's doing with her perfume, and she takes him back, and he starts trying to rub the perfume off with his shirt, and she puts them on herself and tells Nathan she's going to take off, and all the important numbers are by the phone, the police, fire department, and Nathan thanks her for worrying about them. Haley says she's not worried about him, and Tab is fun, but remember that he's married now, and the kids are to remind him even more. And then there's a knock on the door. Tim gets up.
Yeah, like basically pushes Haley out of the way to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Lucas.
Yeah.
He's all bummed.
Yeah. And Haley tells the guy she left some ones on the counter in case they don't have any change, but to not spend it all in one place, and then leaves. And then Lucas...
Oh my god, it was funny because he goes... Lucas goes, "What's wrong with Dim?"
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is he calling him Dim? I know because he's dumb, but...
Yeah, it's just a new nickname that everybody calls him now. First it was just Brooke, now it's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan tells Lucas not to take it personally. He thought he was a stripper. Lucas jokes, saying that they prefer to be exotic dancers. We call it exotic dancers. And then, I forgot his name, but Nathan's manager from his job arrives.
Yeah, and Tim's like, "Who are you?
Yeah.
Where's the stripper?" And it's like, oh my god.
Because the guy didn't, even, introduce himself. I mean, they all go to school, so they should know each other. His name wasn't mentioned once, so I really can't remember what his name was unless I went back in my notes, but...
No, he had a name, but,
No, I know he does. They just didn't call him it in this episode, so that's why I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, me either, but, I'm just kind of confused why Nathan would invite him. Like, he really doesn't have any, he didn't invite anyone from the basketball team.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
I feel like you would invite them before you'd invite your coworker / manager, someone who you would never be seen with.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird. I'm like...
Yeah, well, I'm good, because he did invite him to the party before.
Out of guilt. It wasn't like, I like you.
Right.
You're my favorite coworker.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing with time now, they get along more, so maybe it was just a genuine invitation this time.
Seems awfully personal, to go to this. Because, not everyone's invited. I mean, where's the basketball team? It's kind of weird. I mean, and the thing is, I could see it coming from Lucas, because Lucas is more generous.
Yeah.
And it would invite someone off the street, but not Nathan.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Nathan didn't want it to get out of hand, so he's trying to keep it really small.
Invite people who don't want the stripper.
Right, yeah, I don't know. And then, with the girls, they're on the party bus where Haley tells Brooke she can't believe she went to this for a shower. It's crazy, and Payne points out by crazy she means thank you, and Haley says, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, how much money is it?
Yeah, Payne tells Haley that she thinks someone feels a little guilty about the whole pregnancy.
So it really did become a rumor.
Yeah.
But we just never heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It's Brooke just doesn't understand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can't say things that aren't true.
Yeah.
Because look what happened. Mm-hmm. Even though we never saw it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Haley says it's water under the bridge, and Brooke hands Haley and Payne glasses for champagne. Haley asks how much is this going to cost, and Brooke says who cares because it's on her dad's credit card. And Haley says she's not sure about drinking because the last time she threw up on Dan's lap, but then changes her mind. And Haley says for them to make a toast to a nice, normal bridal shower. Payne agrees to that, knowing that that's not what it's going to be for long.
And the blindfold?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Payne says it's a piece of cloth, a nice, normal blindfold. And Brooke says it's for the nice, normal guest of honor, and they put it on her. And then back with the guys, they're just sitting from the TV. Tim leans in to ask Nathan if he's sure he knows this guy, meaning his manager. Again, not saying what his name was. And Nathan explains he works with him at the mall. Then they just end up doing a quiz from one of Haley's magazines.
Oh my god, and it was... They're like, this is for girls, right?
Yeah. Because Tim was answering, and, Nathan's like, you're supposed to answer as a girl. And, Tim said that he hoped to have a boyfriend who wasn't afraid to go up his shirt. And Lucas asked hopefully someday he'll find him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just more, it's almost kind of queer coding Tim, like, that's actually, like, how he is. Like, he's not straight or anything. So,
but
back then it was more just, like, picking on him as, like, a joke, as a, you know, more of a mean thing.
But when I watched it, when the coworker asked the question, Tim did look at Nathan.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he did. Like, what would Nathan do? And I was like, why are you looking at Nathan? You know what I mean? Right. To answer this. I'm like, to me it was strange because I'm like, you wouldn't look at your friend to be like, how would you answer this?
Was it like looking at him like what? Because like he sees Nathan as like the cooler guy that knows everything about, you know, getting with girls. So was it like in that sense, like what would Nathan do to get with a girl, or what would?
I don't know. He was looking at Nathan, and I was like,
what would?
Yeah, but he looks at him a lot. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that's where they take it. I don't know.
And then Nathan's coworker asked what kind of bachelor party this is. No booze, no strippers. He thought they had the best parties. This is lame.
It is weird. It's coming from this guy.
Yeah, Tim says his brother is setting up the strippers, so they're not going to be disappointed. Lucas says he just hopes the stripper is not a guy, because he remembers when he was on stripper duty last time. So, what was that reference to? Yeah. And then Tim says he's gonna, set the mood for something from his dad's porno stash. He was gonna save it for later, but he said that he had heard his dad watching this one night, and then he puts the tape in.
And it says it's his dad and his stepmom.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nathan eventually says, "Isn't that your mom?" And he goes, "Stepmom," and I'm like, "Ew." Okay, here's the thing. First of all, that's gross. Secondly, most guys, I would imagine, they would think that that's like that their stepmom is hot if they're half their dad's age.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's dating a 20-some-year-old. Like, this is hot. But the fact that she seems to be around his dad, unless his dad's 60, 70 years old,
right.
She is around his age. So it doesn't make any sense that he would consider her hot and he'd want to see her naked and all that, because that's not exactly the typical thing. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Guys are like, oh, my stepmom, she's hot, but that's also because she's, 5 years older than you? You know what I mean? That's a little different, but I was like, she's like, 40. Right. She's not exactly the typical stepmom age that you would want to see her naked. It's very weird.
Yeah, well, I don't think most guys would think that, even if they were younger. But either way, I didn't like how the coworker told Tim that his mom's a slut, and then he says he's such a stepmom.
But Tim's all for it.
Yeah, he even wanted like a high five, but nobody returns it.
But I did notice that like Nathan looked at Lucas, and Lucas is still looking at the TV.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
I was like, aren't you supposed to like look at Nathan? Not the TV.
Yeah.
Like Nathan's looking like he's like scarred, and
you should.
Well, it's just really weird. But again, why are you? And your dad's in the video too, or is it just the mom? Like,
I don't know. I think it was both.
You know what I mean? Why would you want to look at your dad?
Yeah, because Sherry, if that's who it is, did sound like it was with both of them. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. It's one thing to watch your own sex tape, but then to watch your parents? Ugh.
Right, yeah. And then the next scene, Payne, Brooke, and Haley walk into a lingerie store after hours because somehow Brooke got the key.
Isn't this the same one that Nathan and Haley went to?
Yeah.
How many? Then why is she acting like... Because Haley goes, well, what is this place? And it's like, I thought you and Nathan went there.
Right, yeah. It should be the same place, but...
So that confused me.
Must have two of the stores in town, but...
They must, because she acted like she had never been there before. And I was like, isn't this the place that Brooke sent you to?
Right.
Especially because Brooke seems to be very close with this place, given how she bought it for the night or whatever.
Yeah.
So she seems to like this place, which would mean she would have sent them there.
Mm-hmm.
So it made no sense that Haley hadn't been there before.
Right. Yeah, so Brooke explains that they're there for a lingerie fashion show. They figure since Haley's married now, she needs to wear something a little less conservative for Nathan and something more slutty.
She can wear what she wants and what she
Right.
feels comfortable in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was just totally I feel like the creator wanting to do this. Because,
Well, yeah, to see them in it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't need to see it.
Right, because, Hillary and Sophia and them were, saying that the creator took his opportunities to write whatever fantasies he had, the girls that he liked back when he was a teenager. So I'd hope it wouldn't be now, but... And then Brooke tells the girls to come out, and just then the girls walk out of the changing areas wearing lingerie, including Bevan and Teresa. We haven't seen Teresa in a while. Brooke explains to Haley after all the money she spent in place, they owed her a few favors. That wouldn't happen in real life, so I'm guessing Brooke used her credit card, her dad's credit card again, to get the place rented for the night,
right?
So to say. And, so Payne and Brooke each grab one of Haley's arms and pulls her toward the lingerie. Then at Karen's cafe, Keith walks in. Karen asks him if he wants some coffee. It's not the fancy competition. But Keith says he loves her coffee. She knows that. He's just having a hard time being around her right now. And Karen points out that before the proposal, they were friends. Can they go back to that? And Keith says he doesn't think so. Sometimes it's just better to...
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I feel like it would be very hard.
Yeah.
You propose to somebody out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
You get shut down, obviously. And, I mean, how do you move on from that? Like, how do you go back to forget that night even existed?
Yeah.
Or her perspective, someone out of the blue proposes to you. How are you supposed to then go back to being friends?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is true. It's a very tricky situation for both of them. But it's just weird that she's just acting like that never happened.
Right.
It's like, it's always going to be in both of your minds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's so kind of like she did with Payne's dad.
But also the thing is, like, they never dated. And she apparently had just realized, remember with Larry, that Keith has been in love with her. Remember? Because he goes, oh, this is a boy or whatever, man who's in love with her. And it's like, in that picture. So I'm just like, very, I don't know. It's just weird because I'm like, he's in love with you. And he clearly always has been. How would you have him be your friend, knowing that?
Right.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Karen says she hasn't seen Larry in ages. There was nothing there, but even if there was...
Of course she hasn't. Isn't he supposed to be home with Peyton? Remember, because she needs her father?
Yeah, well,
I thought that was a thing.
Yeah, last time we saw him, he took off with Jake.
Yeah, but remember, he was only supposed to be gone for a couple days, and he was going to come back.
It was a couple weeks or something.
Okay, well, it's been a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen him.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so Karen says, but even if there was his idea of moving on doesn't mean, to cut her out of his life completely. He says he doesn't want to, but he has to. And then back at the lingerie store, Brooke and Payne are waiting for Haley to walk out of the dressing room. She doesn't want to step out, so Payne says if she doesn't come out, they'll have to go in. Just then, Payne and Brooke open the curtain to reveal Haley in an all-body lingerie dress.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is Haley why does she have pigtails?
Yeah, that's what I put in my notes. I said that she could have done without the pigtails because they make her look like a little girl.
Uh-huh.
Because that would be creepy.
Well, I was like, how is that sexy?
Right, yeah.
I'm like, her with her hair down is sexy. Mm-hmm. I don't consider her with... We said that about what's her face? Andy. We're like, why does she look like a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Like, why are they putting her with pigtails looking like a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
When she's in high school.
Yeah, so at least
in public.
The creator basically could do whatever he wants, so...
But you think that's cute?
No, I'm just saying that's what the creator wanted. That's what he thinks is, which is horrible.
I'm like, she has never worn pigtails.
Well, no, there was one, but they were
When?
lower. It was in season 1, like early season 1. I think she liked barrettes too, but it was like behind her head. So
Where it was cute.
Yeah.
This was not. This was like she was a little kindergartner.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Like playing dress up. I'm like, this does not look like a married woman. And it also doesn't look like someone that is sexy.
Right.
Like, I don't consider, like, put your hair down.
Yeah, I feel like if anybody, it would be Brooke to tell her to, not put it up in the first place.
Well, that was the thing, it would have been one thing if Haley had put them up because she thinks it's cute. And then Brooke's like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't, because Brooke always like, I don't like what you're wearing, I don't like this.
Yeah.
So she would have been the one to take it down and be like, there you go. Now you look good. Something like that. But that didn't happen. It was, you look cute. And it's like, or sexy. I don't even want to say it. But it's just like, no.
Yeah.
Put your hair down and put some clothes on.
Yeah, Haley just doesn't think she can pull it off, but Brooke wraps her before she can take it off and says to leave it up to Nathan, especially after the next stop. And the next scene, we see the guys walking. Skill says to Mouth that he can't believe he got a keg. Mouth says he can thank Brooke and the fake ID she made him. And Fergie asks Mouth if he ever hooked up with Brooke or what. Mouth answers, a gentleman never tells. And Skill says that's Mouth's no. And just then, there are 2 female cops in their car when they spot the boys carrying the keg up to the apartment complex. One of them asks what's wrong with the youth of America today.
I mean, why would the boys just think that they wouldn't be seen?
Right, yeah. Even late at night. And then back to the girls who are on the party bus.
Well, and also, I'm really surprised that they would even do this, given how their last party, the cops showed up and took Nathan in.
Yeah.
So, remember? And then I'm surprised that Nathan never got kicked out.
Right, yeah.
Or the court didn't come in and stop it and say, you're clearly not mature to be emancipated.
Yeah.
So, given how that all happened, and it was just brushed off, why would you even have a stripper at your apartment? Like, why isn't this at Tim's house then? And why are you having a keg? Because the last time we had a party didn't work out so well. You know what I mean? And also, wouldn't you be worried, like, the cops have your address and, like, they're like, we need to watch out for this one. You know what I mean? Like, you'd still be on watch. It's only been, probably a month since the last party?
Well, that's because Nikki was the one that made the whole thing go away. So I'm guessing since Nikki isn't obviously going to be there because Jake's...
How'd she make it go away?
Well, because her and Payne got into that fight.
Yeah.
So that's how Nathan ended up in jail, because he says he wasn't even there. So he was being, having a smart mouth to the cops.
Yeah. So he got arrested. Yeah,
so I'm just saying there's no girls this time, so there's no likely to be a fight between them.
But there's a stripper. They're underage. There's alcohol. Like, how are you not putting it in your head that this is a bad idea?
They're just not very smart, really. And
because I'm just like, I feel like you would be under watch. You know what I mean?
Because Tim's brother is getting the stripper, so that's, I guess they think that's fine. Like, nobody can trace it back to them. But yeah, the keg, that was out in the open for anybody to see as it was. But I don't know.
Because I'm just like, you wouldn't do that because you just got arrested. You wouldn't want to go through that a second time.
Right.
And again, you're emancipated. Okay. Can the court take that away?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I have another question. Okay. So if the court can take that away, would your marriage be legal then?
I don't know.
I wonder that now. Because think about it. He clearly can't just live without
causing trouble.
Yes. So it's kind of like, if that's the case, you probably should live, with somebody, a guardian. So then would your marriage be legal?
I don't know, maybe because it was at the time, but when the emancipation was valid. But I don't know. I feel like with Tim's brother, maybe he should have been the one to also bring the alcohol as well.
Or Tim himself. Like, why is Tim not bringing it? Why are the good ones bringing it? Skills and mouth of them. Like, I feel like they would never do that.
I don't know. Maybe
they're the good ones.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tim told them you guys
go pick it up or something.
Yeah, you guys can come to the party if you bring the booze or something like that. I don't know.
Because I was just like, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. So then back to the girls who are on the party bus. They're all dancing. Then Brooke says this is an important moment in their little Haley's life. The moment when she becomes a woman, at least according to the state of North Dakota. She shows everyone the fake ID she made for Haley.
It's called Trudy.
Yeah, like
or Tuda Girl,
yeah. And of course, the picture looks very photoshopped because you can tell she's not even in standing in front of that background that they had. It was blue.
I didn't look.
Yeah, it was just a blue background that would be normal for a picture, but you could tell they photoshopped Haley's head in front of it.
Why didn't? Okay, I'm sure Haley probably took a picture of herself in that fake ID.
No, that was the picture Brooke had took of her.
No, I know, but why didn't she try to find a picture at her wedding?
Just because it was Brooke's idea and she was doing it last minute.
No, but why couldn't she have used that picture that she probably had taken at the fake ID station at her wedding?
Maybe because it was more of just a fun thing to do. It wasn't a serious thing because it was taken with a Polaroid camera, so it probably would have looked really bad if they used it that way.
And this looked better?
Yeah, because it was
No, you just said it doesn't even look like she was standing right where she was standing.
Yeah, I'm saying because they took a picture of the whole cardboard cutout of the fake ID, so you would have been able to tell it was a picture of a cardboard cutout. So, and they just didn't want to, I guess Brooke didn't want to just use a different picture to Photoshop it in.
That's what's weird.
Yeah. And then, so apparently the bus comes to a stop. It's Brooke, something's wrong, and Haley says that she's going to call Lucas, but Payne says she already did. His phone is off. Of course, that's not the truth. Because it just said...
You mean Haley was going to call Lucas?
What did I say?
Brooke.
Oh, yeah, I meant Haley. And just then a tow truck pulls up. The guy gets out and walks over to them. And
isn't it weird that Peyton's first thought is, let's call Lucas?
Well, he was the mechanic and was the one who, drove the...
I know, but, that's the person that's on your mind.
Well, Nathan won't know what to do with the bus, so...
I know, but it took Haley a whole second to bring up Lucas, and Peyton already called him. His phone's off, and I'm like, girl, that was fast.
Yeah, well, she only said that so Haley wouldn't call for Lucas to go over there.
Maybe she did try, though. We don't know.
Well, this was a setup for the
I know, but I'm just saying.
It was just cover up. And then, so Haley says it's probably the engine. And the guy says he sees what the trouble is, and Haley says, okay, can you fix it? And he says, yes, the tool can fix anything. And just then his toolbox is a boombox, and he takes his rip-away pants off and throws them in front of the girls. Haley is looking away, and she tries to cover her eyes with her hands, but Payne pulls it down. Then he strips his shirt off, and Haley tells Brooke she's going to kill her. And then Brooke calls Payne and Cameron Diaz and tells her nice work, and then Payne says, you too, Gwyneth, as in outro, has to be. And, but why would they call each other that? Specifically, Cameron Diaz and Gwyneth Paltrow. Were they in a movie together? I don't know, or...
No, I don't know. Because this was 2004. I don't know.
Cameron Diaz is, they could have said, Charlie's Angels, setting this up or something, but Gwyneth Paltrow wasn't in that, so I don't know why this was, reference to that. But anyways, at the apartment, there's another knock on the door, and it's the cops from before.
Tim thinks it's the stripper.
Yeah, and
it was weird. They even came in costumes. I'm like, those are cops, idiot.
Yeah, well, there are strippers that dress up as cops, so that's probably...
I know, but if he had looked, there was an actual cop car down there.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny how Skills had covered the keg with just a towel, even though you could see the bottom of it still, because it wasn't a big towel.
Well, and also, they saw you carry it in.
Yeah, so they could tell, from the shape anyways, if the towel was covering the whole thing. And then they're both women too, so that's, again, Tim thinks that they're strippers. It would have been different if it was one, guy, one woman. But, yeah, so they mentioned that they saw the keg being brought up and asked if they have ID. And Tim's still thinking of strippers and says to let them see some ground action, and takes it even further by slapping one of them on the butt and puts his arms around them both. So, of course, one of them starts putting him in handcuffs, and he says the strippers are strong. And then the one that has him in cuffs pushes him up against the glass door. Tim just won't shut his mouth up and says that he can feel her breast against his back, and the other officer looks at Lucas, who has his hands up because he knows not to get involved again like last time. The officer holding Tim says forget the keg.
Arrest the perv. I loved when she said that. I was like, you go. Because it was funny. Because he won't shut up. It's like, but even here, he still doesn't show up or shut up. Because then he talks about how he's horny and stuff when he's in the cop car. I'm like, oh, just shut up, dude. You're going to jail.
Yeah, and asking if the cuffs were extra. And then back with the girls.
But I do love how the guys are like, no. And then Nathan's like, just take them.
Yeah. And then back with the girls on the bus, they're dancing with the stripper. Payne points out about the moonroof, so Haley, Bevan, and another girl all stand through it, living their best life. And then, it goes back to the guys. So Tim's just not showing up, making it worse for himself. The boys can't help but laugh. And
they see Haley.
Yeah, because the cop car goes right past the bus as it's coming in their eyesight. So the cop car went right past the party bus. I'm surprised that the cops didn't notice the girls were in the moonroof because, that's not safe to do. So
they were probably focused on the person in the back seat.
Yeah.
That won't shut his mouth.
Right. I just thought of that.
Now, I'm actually surprised, too, that Tim was the only one that got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
They have a keg.
Yeah, I guess they just forgot about it with Tim. Like, that was their priority.
I'm like, you only arrested him?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Skills and them were the ones that brought it.
Right. Yeah, so the guys see the girls in the moonroof, and that's when Nathan recognizes one of the girls as Haley, and another stripper's up there with her and Bevan. Then at Karen's cafe, Deb walks in.
So when she said that they're ready to release him, you can definitely tell Deb is like, don't really want to move it in, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was funny how Karen was getting coffee, but when she hears that, she says, now I'm grabbing the liquor.
Mm-hmm. But then I did like how Karen was like, well, who's taking care of you?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, whoever's name is on that liquor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is true. No one's looking out for Deb.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Because if things hadn't gone so bad, she would still have Nathan.
Mm-hmm. And then they bring up the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Deb said that Dan had the heart attack before he signed the papers. So,
mm-hmm.
So they're still married.
Yeah.
That was the thing, was he was ready to sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he's not so ready to sign. It's like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
If he only had signed.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen says that maybe it's a sign that she's got to, stop doing what's best for Dan and start doing what's best for her. But either way, do it because it's right for her. And then back with the girls, the bus stops, and Payne and Brooke help Haley off the bus because she's really drunk now. Haley says if she wanted a lap dance, she would have stayed home after seeing they stopped at a strip club. Brooke tells her tonight is going to be different. She runs out the back room and hired an instructor. And then inside the club, they're taking a lesson from the instructor on the pole. Haley is watching with wide doe eyes, and then she asks who's Haley. The girls point at her. Payne says she's not going to go for this. The instructor tells Haley to take it nice and easy, but Haley is more than for it and says to show her the pole and is too excited, and her hand slips off the pole, not even gripping it, and slides upside down, ends up upside down on the couch in front of the stage.
That looked like it hurt.
Yeah, and then even rolls off of it and landed on the floor.
I was like, how is she still okay? And then the fact that Brooke and Peyton are just laughing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, she looks like she literally injured herself or she has to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the fact that you two are just laughing.
Yeah.
You're not even going to check to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, because she was drunk. That's why she fell. But
yeah, but they are not running over like, oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah,
they're just standing there standing. What kind of friend is that?
Yeah, they should have been more careful with her and with being drunk.
Yeah, like not let her on the pole
mm-hmm.
because she's never done it before and she's also wasted.
Yeah. and just shows she shouldn't be there in the first place, so she can't even grip onto it. And then the next scene is with Lucas, who says he haven't taken off the training wheels off the Hope Brother thing, but he wants to ask Nathan something. He says he went down to the dealership and found the pictures.
Oh my god. And then Nathan was like, oh, the ones of you in his desk? Mm-hmm. And then, so this is where we do learn that that's the reason why Nathan, part of it is the reason why he didn't like Lucas.
Yeah.
So the fact that Nathan knows, does Deb know too? Or is it just Nathan? And how did Nathan find out?
Right, yeah, I think it's just Nathan. But, I don't know, I feel like it could have happened when Nathan was younger and just, like, was there with Dan for, like, you know, the day, like, a father-son work day, and he went into Dan's office when he was looking at them and, like, saw really quick, but didn't, like, ask, you know...
Questions.
Yeah. And, he had to have known what Lucas was, who he was back then. So
well, yeah, they played on Little League.
Yeah, so he knew, you know, who Lucas was and could recognize him in pictures.
Well, that's why he said, I hated you all those years.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, yeah, Dan might have pictures of him, but he's not in his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Lucas mentions that Dan wants help, you know, with his rehab from him, and he told Dan he wouldn't be a stand-in for Nathan. And the other guys leave. Moss says that they should probably bail Tim out. Nathan says it looks like they got Tim'd again. Nathan tells Lucas,
so why would the guys bail Tim out? Like, those are Lucas's friends?
Right, yeah, I don't know, just be nice, I guess.
Nathan should be the one to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I would just leave Tim in there.
Yeah. Nathan tells Lucas he can stay home. He can go home, too. And,
actually, it should be Tim's brother that should go get him.
Right. And then Lucas says he actually has something for him. It's
a job.
Yeah, Dan Scott Moore's uniform.
I mean, well, and then Lucas said that it's a better paying job than what he has. And I'm like, what is he doing there? I mean, Nathan knows nothing about cars.
Right.
You know, at least Lucas knew how to fix them. Mm-hmm. So I was just like,
Yeah, it's just kind of a nepotism there.
Yep.
Then he asks, he understands if Lucas has to find out. Nathan says that he understands if Lucas has to find out about Dan himself. Whatever he decides to do, it's not going to affect them. He can't come between them before. They shouldn't let it happen again.
Oh, but I did like that he said that that Keith needs some help. Like, you know, he's going to be the boss. Mm-hmm. He said he's a good boss.
Yeah.
And I thought that was nice. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I do think it's definitely change. Like, there's definitely changes in season 2 because now we're seeing Dan and Lucas. Odd couple, odd pairing. Then we're now going to see Keith and Nathan. Mm-hmm. You know, 2 people that were never on the screen together.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different change.
Mm-hmm. And then back in the club, Bevan is actually on the phone now. A worker tells Brooke her credit card has been declined. Brooke gives him another card, but the second one is rejected as well.
Did you notice that on the card, it actually had her name?
Nope, I did not see that.
I was like, how?
So I guess...
She's underage. How does she have a credit card that has her name on it?
Well, I think it wasn't back then, but I know now parents can give their underage, like, teenagers a card, you know, with their permission and everything, but I don't know. And I guess Brooke was initially using her dad's credit card first before her own, but I don't know. So yeah, so either way, they're both rejected, and Brooke asks, you know, what their policy is.
Do you actually think that works?
No.
Doing the dishes?
I mean, it seems to always happen in shows when that happens, but I don't know. I feel like in real life you have to stay at the location until it's paid. You know, you have to, like, ask somebody else to, like, come help you out.
Well, I feel like the cops will get involved.
Yeah. In the back of the apartment, there's a knock on the door. It's the stripper that Tim's brother called after the party's over and everything. Her name is Simone.
I didn't like this.
Yeah.
Because Nathan was like, oh, you know, the party's over. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, like, I'm here. The party's just started. And I'm like, he just basically told you to go.
Right.
And you are inviting yourself in and you're not, like, it bothered me. I'm like, go away. Mm-hmm. There's no party. He said he doesn't even want you there. Go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she says that she hopes it's not too late to give him a show. Nathan says thanks, but it's okay.
Go away.
Yeah, she's already paid for.
Again, go away. Great, you're paid. You don't have to work tonight.
Yeah.
Most people would be happy for that.
Yeah. And Nathan says that he's good, and she says he's just trying to be. Nathan says nothing, so she says it's fine. She didn't get a cab. And as in the meantime,
great, go.
And in the meantime, she places her arms around him and says she has an idea of what they can do while they wait for the cab. Then back at the club, Brooke is mad at her stupid parents for not paying the credit card bill, she says.
So, has she not used her credit card like yesterday? Do you know what I mean? Like, she seems to use it a lot. So it's just kind of weird. I'm like, I don't know. Like, there's clearly no communication in this family.
Yeah, because they're never home either, so I can expect them to even tell Brooke about anything about bills or anything. And then, Brooke too, like, she thinks, money isn't a thing and that she can do whatever she wants and doesn't think about bills at all.
Well, that's why she said, I can't believe they didn't pay for it. And it's like, you also don't know. Maybe they don't have money.
Yeah. And then Payne says that they have $140 in cash at most altogether with them.
Yeah, but apparently the bill is $1,000.
Yeah.
Which, again, legally, I feel like the cops will get involved. You know what I mean? And they might be sued for not paying their bill. It's just weird.
Yeah.
And also, if you're paying to like shut down a place, a store, whatever, I feel like you'd have to do that in advance.
Right, yeah. I don't know.
So it should all be paid for already. They shouldn't have to pay for it that night. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise it would be like this. You had someone buy it for the night and then they can't pay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I feel like that would have been something you'd have to pay for ahead of time.
Yeah, they just did this to make it more interesting.
Yeah, that we find out Brooke doesn't have money.
Her parents don't, yeah. And, Brooke thinks she can make a little negotiation out of it.
By flirting.
And I didn't like how they made Brooke say that a girl can do anything she puts her mouth to instead of, like, mind,
I didn't like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because then when he was like, oh, because, like, he brings up an idea and it's just like, ew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he asked Brooke how dirty she's willing to get.
Yeah, and then her face, and it's like, well, you're the one that went up to flirt, but it's just all gross. And again, she's underage.
Well, she brought her fake ID with her, so they don't think so. And then, so the girls end up washing the dishes. Brooke repeats what the worker said, and Payne asks she hopes that this is quote enough for her.
Haley. I have an issue with this. So she acts like she's really wasted. But then, when she gets home, she's not really wasted. I'm like, interesting.
Well, Payne did give her a cup of something.
Yes, but they also said that you won't thank us in the morning, which means you'll wake up with a hangover.
Yeah.
And she's doesn't act like she's drunk. And she only had a little sip. It's not like she drank a whole bottle of anything. So I'm like, you had a couple sips and that's going to make you sober?
Right, yeah, I don't know.
It didn't make any sense.
Unless they were there for a while, maybe it kind of wore off a bit. But
no, because they said you can go home.
Yeah, well, they didn't want her to stay there and do nothing.
But that's what I'm saying is it was pretty quick.
Yeah, because Haley volunteered to help them, but Brooke says no. She's a guest of honor. And,
to take the limo and go home.
Yeah, Payne said that Mrs. Scott had a long night. She said as Haley yawns, and Haley likes the sound of Mrs. Scott, so she repeats it and laughs.
And then she said, you probably think I'm crazy for getting married. Or no. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, Payne admits a little bit. And Brooke says that they totally have the whole Nick and Jessica thing going on. Without the stalkerazzi and chickening tuna. That was a callback. And then Haley says she can't help it if she found the guy she wants to be with her first time out. Isn't that what it's all about?
Did you see like Peyton's face? Because it's like, you know, that was Peyton's boyfriend.
No, I just took it as like she's not doing the same thing like Haley, like trying to look for the person she wants to be with for the rest of her life, or you know, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then Brooke and Peyton look at each other.
Well, Brooke says having fun.
Yeah, and Haley says love is fun. What kind of love she has, anyways. And then she says she wants to go home to her husband if they don't mind, even though they already told her she can go home. And Brooke says class dismissed, and Haley thanks both of them for tonight. And yeah, so Payne said that she won't be thinking of them tomorrow. And then back to the apartment, Nathan and Simona are playing a video game because she's still there for some reason. And she notices his wedding ring, and it says most people usually call her before the wedding. And she asks what it's like being married. Nathan says he loves it. Haley is great, and she's the one for him.
I don't like that she said, because when he said it's great and everything, and she said even if one's all you get, and I was like, go away.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we find out that she really didn't call anyone. Which, I mean, wouldn't Nathan have known? He was standing there the whole time.
Right, yeah.
I thought that was weird, too.
Yeah, because you couldn't, you know, text to get a taxi back then.
But she has another thing in mind. It's like, ew, go away.
Right. Well, the next scene was Lucas gets to the dealership to see Keith. Lucas says he wants to thank Keith for the job offer, but he can't accept it. He gave it to Nathan, though.
Which, again, is weird. Like, isn't Keith supposed to give it to Nathan?
Right.
I didn't know you can just hand jobs out.
Right, yeah. Keith says he knows to be using cash. Lucas adds in the guidance, too. Then he says to Keith that he's always helped him out. No, it's Nathan's turn. And then Lucas is about to let Keith get back to work. He says Lucas is fine, and he's just trying to find the inventory printouts. While he's saying this, he moves the lockbox that Dan has things with Lucas in, and Lucas just stares at it on the desk. And then, so the stripper starts taking off her dress, and says...
Well, yeah, that's when she says she didn't call the cab.
Yeah, because her car's outside, too.
Yeah, she thinks Nathan's cute. And, you know, she really wants to do other things. She wants to show him a good time.
Yeah.
Again, I really just wish Nathan would have just, you know, made her leave. Like, go away. Like, he shouldn't have spent any time with her. Like, she's getting the satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, so she circles him like a vulture, and she touches his shoulder and says there's a lot of things she's good at. Keeping a secret is one of them. She whispers in his ear.
I'll be in the bedroom? Ew.
He missed out what he wants. Just then, Haley gets off the party bus and runs up the stairs to the apartment. Then we see Nathan walk into the dark bedroom. He then takes off his shirt and says, I want you. And then we see it's Haley sitting in front of him on the bed. So apparently, you know, that was a mislead to think that, you know, we were thinking that Nathan was actually going to cheat on Haley. Or at least Haley was going to walk in and see, you know, what was going on.
That she was in the bedroom?
Yeah. So,
I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah. So then they kiss, and then she asks him how the stripper was, and Nathan says she was pretty good at the NBA Live. Other than that, he had no interest in her. He actually had to ask her to leave.
It was funny because she laughed.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not the same Nathan.
And then Nathan asks how was her shower. She says it was educational.
And then she goes into the bathroom to put whatever the heck she bought on and show him how educational it was. I'm like, really?
I mean, I thought it was funny. And then, but the only thing that she said that she learned at the bachelorette was that he was the one that she wants. And then Payne and Brooke are in the limo alone after dropping the other girls off. Brooke says she was thinking about what Haley said.
I like how they're kind of quiet at first, and it's like, yep, Haley ruined the mood.
And how Haley says it's all supposed to be for love, and then asks Payne if she thinks Haley is right. Payne says she knows she is, but that's not the part that scares her, because people are going to disappoint you. She gets that. She kind of expects it, but what if you wake up one day and realize you're the disappointment? Payne then asks Brooke what's on her mind. She says she was thinking how they're going to pay for the limo.
Brooke's the one that needs to figure it out. She's the one that orchestrated this whole thing.
Right. And then the next day at the hospital where Deb is there visiting Dan, she tells him she spoke to the lawyer about their situation with Nathan and Haley. He said it's going to be tougher than they thought. Doesn't look like there's any way to invalidate their marriage. There's nothing they can do legally.
I can't believe they didn't know that already.
Right. Dan says he's thinking they don't have to take such drastic measures because...
yeah, because they're teenagers. Basically, life will get to them.
Yeah. And, so the money problems will kick in. They'll start to wonder why they rushed into the whole thing. Their marriage will probably self-destruct and they won't have to lift a finger. Deb asks what if it doesn't, and Dan says he had a heart attack, not a lobotomy. At Karen's house, she walks into the kitchen where she finds Lucas. She says she thought he had to be at work.
I did like when he said that he wasn't taking the job and that he offered it to Nathan, but that he has his hands full at the cafe. And she's like, what? And he goes, well, you're going to college, so, I'll be there to help. I liked that. Because we haven't really seen him truly work at the cafe, so it'll be a nice scene.
Yeah, I thought it was sweet of Lucas, but wouldn't Deb be the one to take care of the cafe like she did?
Deb's busy.
Was in Italy?
Deb's busy trying to ruin Nathan's marriage and deal with Dan.
I know, but she's still like a partner with Karen, so you figure she would do at least most of the work.
Well, even when she walked in and Karen said, like, we're closed, it's like, that's your business partner. Like, I know she didn't know that at the moment, but it's like, Deb should have a key, right? Yeah.
And then at the apartment, Nathan is wearing his new working uniform and kisses Haley goodbye. Before he steps out, Haley tells him to not change when he gets home from work. She's kind of into the whole mechanic thing. It was kind of a callback to when she was wearing the cheerleading outfit, and he said that to her, that he had a thing for cheerleaders. So that was funny. And then next we see Brooke and Payne using an ATM machine, but the machine tells her insufficient funds.
So how are they paying for it?
I don't know.
Because we never saw that.
Yeah. And so now she can't get her card, and she thinks saying the machine's going to do something. And then Nathan gets to the dealership to start his new job. Him and Keith smile at each other. Then Karen arrives at her first day of college. And I thought the pillars there where she was walking looked like the school that Eddie was going to in California.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's all the same sets.
Yeah. And then we see Deb helping Dan walk out into that, towards the house. When Lucas pulls up, Deb leaves him alone. Lucas brings up the pictures in the black box. Doesn't change anything.
But it kind of does. You're there.
Yeah.
So it changes everything, Lucas.
Dan says he knows he can't fix the past.
But he's hoping to change the future.
Yeah. And then Dan goes to walk towards the door of the house and stumbles, but Lucas catches his arm. And then Dan puts his arm around Lucas, his shoulder, and they walk into the house together.
Yep. So for me, my high. I mean, I liked the girls hanging out. I just wish it didn't have to be the whole episode about all the strippers and everything. Because, I mean, again, they're already married.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, Tim getting arrested was funny. Because he should have gotten arrested.
Right.
And then the low was all the talk about the strippers. And I really wish Nathan would have just kicked the stripper out from the start. I'll call the cab and you can go. Yeah. That would have been more mature. What about you?
Yeah, my high was just at the end when Nathan, we find out that he didn't cheat and that Haley, had a good time too, even if it wasn't what she expected for her party. And then my low was just really the whole stripper part of it all, how she just wasn't taking no for an answer and just kind of pushing Nathan. So.
And then I would rate this an 8. I liked it. Yeah. It was entertaining.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 too.
And then who was your best and worst?
My worst was Tim, just because he did the whole stripper, the whole party was his idea, and they should have technically got a lot, more in trouble than they did. I mean, Tim was the only one that got in trouble, but it could have just been really bad for Nathan, because I feel like, if anything, him getting caught this time would have kicked him out of the apartment complex, but, this is a TV show, so they can really do anything if they want. And then the best was Lucas because, you know, he gave Nathan the job. He was watching Nathan for Haley, even though there wasn't no need. And, you know, telling his mom, too, he'll help at the cafe so she can go to class. And yours?
So for me, the worst was Tim. Yeah, I mean, and he's the one that started this whole stripper thing, and he's the one, and which made Brooke want to have a bachelorette party.
Right.
So he's the one that started the whole thing. And I mean, he's the one that should have got arrested.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, he's the one that put everyone at risk because they all could have got arrested. And Nathan could have been homeless with Haley. Yeah, I mean, it just all falls back on Tim.
Yeah.
And then the best, yeah, I'm gonna go with Lucas for all those same reasons. I just liked that he was there for everyone in the episode. So what's the next one?
Episode 4, You Can't Always Get What You Want.
Interesting. All right, thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.